Welcome to the She Built This podcast, where we talk to and about women building bodies, businesses and lives. I'm Samantha Charlwood, and I'm known for working with women looking for their bodies to keep up with them as they adventure through life. My unique framework combines body, mind, heart and soul through the lens of conventional things like evidence-based exercise, nutrition and pain science, but also less conventional things like individual spiritual practice. In this season, I'm talking to women in business who have overcome enormous physical and mental challenges and how they support their bodies and minds through these. So settle in and enjoy listening to these phenomenal women and the stories they have to share. I'm joined today by the fabulous Gilly Ridley-Whittle, who is the founder of Peachaus, a bra fitting service and wellness brand. And I'm so excited to have Gilly here because we have been friends for about getting on 5 years now, I think. It's been a while, hasn't it? So welcome. I'm so pleased to have you. I really want to dive in today because the audience are going to be really fascinated on your journey. If we can take you back to the start, really, I think let's talk about your journey through fashion and through where you started out and what health and wellness looked like for you right back at the start. Give us some dates. Give us some juicy dates.
So I'm going to just talk about me in my early life. I was very sporty, very active. I used to play a lot of tennis. I was on all the teams at school. So being an athletic person has always been part of me and my makeup, and my physique is quite athletic. I got into fashion, always wanted to do fashion. So I did a fashion degree and basically then entered the industry. I think I started to neglect myself was probably when I became a student. I didn't actually acknowledge how important exercise was to me. It was just something that I'd always done, but it's kind of like leaving home, going into uni. I just stopped exercising, and I was on a very intense course. Fashion's like a job. It's like 9 till 6 every day. Yeah. Apart from Wednesday, it was 9 till 4, but it's like a job. And so I didn't do anything other than my fashion, socialise. And so those 4 years at uni, totally stopped exercising. I then took up my first job as a graduate at M&S, and I went into the fashion industry. And I was out of that habit of my body, and I was lucky because I generally stayed quite slim. I just took it for granted, really. And I mean, all the things I loved. I mean, I was a really good tennis player, and I kind of stopped that, and I just pushed myself into work. And it's amazing, actually, Sam, when you look back now, I realise I've always suffered from anxiety. And it kind of started to kick back in again, funnily enough, when I was in my first job. And I never associated it with actually needing to do things for myself and my own personal balance. I just thought it was the pressure of work, and I had my first panic attack in the office, and it was quite scary. And then I almost couldn't control like these panic attacks. They'd just come up on me. So I just going to kind of whip through my journey of my body and me and exercise. I mean, I would say my 20s was just like work, and I was so ambitious. I wanted to achieve. And then with these panic attacks in the background, I then hit my 30s and I was doing well in my career, but actually... And I was starting to exercise again, actually. I took up the gym, probably late 20s. Late 20s, I went to the gym. I started exercising because I got married. That was it. And then I then from then on in, exercise actually did generally become part of who I am again. Okay. And probably helped, actually.
And was that generally, I mean, back in the day, it was very much cardio related, wasn't it? So did you ever find yourself drawn into the sort of strength side of things, or was it always pretty cardio related?
So, I mean, I had no idea about diet, exercise in terms of maintaining body mass and muscle weight, muscle density. So it was always for me about streamlining my body, weight loss.
Yeah.
and keeping myself in a, it wasn't about my mental health, it was about how I looked.
Yeah.
And I did do some weights, actually. I did weight machines. I was trained up, so I knew a kind of a regime that kept my body in good looking shape. But nothing, I didn't know anything about what I needed to do to maintain my longevity of my life and
Yeah.
building my strength up.
And I
And I
think
never
for
had an
you,
idea how that related to my mental health.
wellness, yeah, sure. And I think if I remember, there was a bit of a point for you where it kind of the wheels came off, didn't they? And was that when you were in Australia and things kind
Oh
of
my
just
goodness. Yeah, I mean, so I mean, there's so much of who I am now. I look back now, I can see where the patterns started to form and become a problem for me. So I think I started having my first panic attacks when I was probably about 10. And I used to say to my mum, I can't breathe properly. And we thought maybe I had asthma, and we were tested and we didn't work it out. But so nothing was ever addressed. So then in my 20s, with the pressure of these jobs, I started to find myself having a few panic attacks. I then learned to control them. I then went up into it's funny looking back at your life in decades. I went into my 30s, and I was exercising, I was looking after myself, but in my mid to late 30s, I started to have some mental issues, which my head started playing games with me and telling me that things were happening that weren't. It was really
wow.
weird. So I got to a little bit like I didn't know what was real and what wasn't. Then, I mean, I look back now, I mean, and it's like, it's crazy. I never talked to anyone about it. I was ashamed. And
I think that's
then,
very
on the
common though.
outside, I had this job, I had this ambition.
Yeah.
I had this, I decided I had to be like the best, most perfect version of myself. And so anything which was like not quite right, I just buried it. And I just, it couldn't possibly be like
Not
destroy this
perfect.
image of who I
Yeah.
am. And then
Yeah.
I went up into, I guess, my 40s, and I had my children late 30s. So I was an older mum. I then went into my 40s, and things started to really get worse for me. I was exercising. I did 3 times a week with a personal trainer after the kids to keep myself back in shape. And I tried to maintain that. It was radical. After you've had kids, it's really hard.
Yeah.
But then my mental health started to get really bad. But again, no one knew. I looked great on the outside, but I started to really struggle with thoughts and things that were playing with my head. And yeah, we went to Australia when I was in my 40s, mid 40s, and had a massive job out there. So, it was my dream job. It was everything that I'd ever wanted. I thought I was going to be an eternal happiness. The whole family, we all moved out there. The kids were just tiny at the time. And it was then that I was in this huge pressurized job. I did no exercise whatsoever, really. We did a bit of surfing at the weekend. I didn't have time. I was driving an hour and 15 minutes to work every day. The job was super intense. I couldn't fail. Any spare time was doing emails and maybe, if I was lucky, reading the kids a bedtime story. And I was probably drinking a glass of wine every night. And then I was so stressed. I was taking St. John's wort tablets every day. My mental health was obviously, I was showing weird signs of like getting up in the middle of the night doing emails. I mean, it was kind of intense.
Yeah.
My husband was struggling at the time, so there was a lot of pressure from all aspects. And yeah, the wheels came off, but they didn't like come off and like I had a nervous breakdown. I was just so riddled with pain and
Wow. Okay.
stress, and I ended up managing to get an exit from this job because there was toxic behaviors. And I had 3 months off in Australia, and that was it was brilliant. It was the best thing I could have had because it just made me reassess my whole life.
And I think it so easily somebody could be sitting here listening to you talk through all of that going, oh my god, she's literally describing my life. And that's the thing, isn't it? And what was the first thing then that you did, I guess, to try and rectify the situation? Like, what was the thought process behind, okay, this is not good? What were the steps?
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't a case that even at that moment in time, I thought I had mental health issues. I thought that circumstance was causing me a huge amount of stress.
Yeah.
And because it had crept up on me over such a long period of time, it was my normal. So I didn't know what another normal was. So I
Mm.
actually probably blamed everything around me. But I have always been taught by my parents that you take responsibility for yourself. So I had those 3 months off and I thought this was my dream job. I now see the damage the fashion industry is causing, and I actually am hating my life in that system. And I thought I've got to create something to give me hope that I can have a future which is joyful and happiness. So I created this brand, Peachaus, and I built a deck, and it was about human beings and care and connection rather than giving back to the earth. And that, honestly, Sam, that was like joy. That
Yeah.
was my happy place. It went on the shelf. I took another job, but I didn't change my life in terms of looking after myself. What I'd done was I'd given myself hope and something that made me happy.
Interesting.
And
Yeah.
please don't get me wrong, my family make me really happy, but it was just, there was so much which was just so
It's
awkward and uncomfortable.
purpose, isn't it? It's a sense of purpose, I think, for you, maybe that you needed something outside of, and I think that's valid, isn't it? It's like so many of us think, oh, well, I should just be happy because I've got a great family and I've got a lovely house and I've got fabulous, friends. Sometimes you do need that thing outside of yourself. And whether that is going to the gym or, training for that, or whether it is creating a global brand, it's that having purpose is so underplayed.
Yeah, Sam, we're not taught about purpose. We're
No.
taught about a career, earning money, having, stability in a house, in a car. What we're not taught is that, alignment and energy and finding who you really are and your purpose. And when you keep going on a path which you feel is going to give you what you're expecting, money, all that stuff. It doesn't give you. I was
Yeah.
empty. I was devoid of all the nourishment that actually makes me who I am now. So in 2016, going back to that point, I created this, as you said, this purpose, this joy, and I felt happy every time I pulled my Pinterest boards up. It gave me something to go for, and I had no idea how I could get there. I just had made a shift. It's that
Yeah.
energetic shift and opening. And wind the clock forward. So I took another job. 2 years later, we decided to come back to the UK. Still the anxiety, still the deep-seated uncomfortableness. We came back to the UK. We decided not to move back to London. We moved actually up to Rutland area. Kids went to school there. And the next 2 years were really hard, like even lower, even worse, even
Wow.
darker. And I was exercising a lot, probably was like my saving thing that I was
Yeah.
exercising a lot because it was the one thing that kind of kept my mind
Gets you into your
calm.
body, doesn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. I got a job then 2 years later, or no, it wasn't, it was like a year later, back in London. So we ended up kind of migrating back to London, and COVID hit. So I got a job as Topshop's fashion director. It was my last job in my old life, and it was really tricky. It was very, very, very difficult environment to work in when COVID hit as well. So I decided it was now or never. So in the background, I got this brand off the shelf, and I thought I have got to get this off the ground. So I joined this group. It was a Facebook group called the Enlightened Living Club, and the woman that ran it, Emma Lanigan, I'd met her in 2019. She probably has been one of the women that's kind of helped save my life because of
Yeah.
all the work she's taught me about energy and stuff. But she set up this club, and it was all about 10 of us in it. And it was about setting your intentions on a Monday and checking in on a Friday. And I thought, I've got to do this because I'll hold myself to account. And that's what did it. And I worked on this brand in the background through COVID. I created a beautiful business pitch deck for investment. I wrote a business plan, and then suddenly I was introduced to this man who basically 6 months later invested, and that was when
Wow.
ASOS bought Topshop. And so it was like this brand that I'd created 5 years earlier. This was the moment, and it
Yeah.
was now, and it was just like all my stars aligned.
It's
But I
incredible,
was
isn't it?
not in a good mental place.
Okay. And actually it's funny again when you can look at how the way the universe kind of puts things for you and gives you opportunities and then acting on those opportunities, isn't it? And I guess, and probably if you'd waited for your your mental health to perhaps be perfect, then you probably wouldn't have taken that jump then, I guess, because not
Yeah.
everything was lined up, but enough things were lined up to kind of take it forwards.
Yeah, and again, and this is where it's really, I didn't realize that like I'm talking like this now. I didn't realize my mental health was in such a bad place.
Wow. Okay.
I am where I am, and by the way, it's taken me 5 years to get to this place. I realize how dense and how my whole wiring and my mental wiring and my thoughts were in such a different place. But it wasn't just, it was I think it was lifetimes of stuff I
Yeah. Yeah.
have had to unpick.
Yeah.
And it's been an enormous, very privileged journey the last 5 years whilst I launched this brand and survived this brand. And it's been really challenging to look inward and to see who I am and look at my strength and rewire everything by changing my life, by changing by bringing things in that I realize make me happy, bring me joy, and having a non-negotiables about myself and
Yeah.
what I need to be powerful.
That's well, that's one of the things I wanted to ask you actually, or that I don't know, maybe we'll save it to the end, but it would be, well, let's do it now. So if you had, if you had to pick three, what would be three things that you absolutely must do in order for everything to for everything to line up?
I mean, I can't just pick three.
Okay, you can have, how many do you want? Five?
Oh my goodness. Well, one of the things that I would say has really helped me and my mind is walking and
Okay.
being outside. And I do pretty much the same circuit, but every time I do it, I just love it. And that's, I didn't realize the power of
Mm,
outside and the power of nature and breathing in and connecting to the energy of nature. That is transformational. And I haven't had a walk actually for a couple of weeks. I've done this morning and yesterday, and I could feel myself just,
yeah.
like slightly not in balance. And it was,
It's funny. I was talking to my group, and we talk about how I was trying to describe it as being a ritual. So we often kind of think of something being like a habit. It's not really a habit, but if you can make it a ritual, so again, it becomes a sacred time. It's to be protected. It's not something that, oh, I've got to get my steps in. No, it's not that. And for you, it doesn't sound like that is what it is. It's sacred.
it is sacred. It is. And I think what you've alluded to is this shift in, oh, I need to exercise because I need to keep that weight off my
Yeah.
belly. It's not that. It's actually looking at your body as this powerful vessel which
Mm,
supports you in every part of your life. And to be honest, I've
yeah.
only really got to that place in the last 6, 9 months. But walking is one. Two is my breathing and energy connection. I do a lot of work, particularly in the night or when I'm in bed, where I literally ground myself deep into the earth. I can't draw up. I protect myself, put a bubble of heart energy around me. I move up into my third eye and I connect up into source energy, and then I go up through my crown
Wow.
and all through my breathing. I then use the breath to exhale anything in my body that should not be there, any dense energy, and I blow it into a helium balloon that gets taken up into the universe.
Love it.
I cannot tell you the power of that
Yeah.
and how that has helped get a deep, deep, deep digging, deep reconditioning, deep rewiring my cells and exhaling it all out has actually changed my whole makeup. So
Absolutely.
that for me is a second non-negotiable. A third non-negotiable now is sleep. I
Mm,
have to get my really good sleep. And then I'm just going to, what fourth one now is actually I mean, I love my weights as weight training, but I'm going to put my gut health. I've done a
yeah.
lot of work on gut recently, and I realize how that's completed the whole body build.
Yeah. Well, it's the gut brain axis. This whole idea that you can't have that you can it's the clarity, I think, that comes from having that the gut working well. And I think it is an overlooked thing. And if it's something that you struggle with, it can be extremely powerful to unpick that. So I'm really glad that that's started to settle down.
Yeah, and I didn't really necessarily realize I had a gut issue. I just met someone who'd done some work with a naturopath, and she said how powerful she felt. And I thought
Mm.
straight away, I need to do that.
Yeah.
So the last 18 months have been like, because of my mental health was getting better and better, my business, I realized I had to be powerful and strong for my business and to lead. I
Mm.
I became very regimental about going to the gym, and my body's changed. I really like the power I see from my definition, how important building up my body mass is. I have a bio age of 38, which is really positive. But I see also how my muscle mass, body mass is increasing. I'm kind of
Yeah.
watching all that because I love life now and I
Yeah.
want to get the most out of it and I want to stay fit and healthy. So I've done that. So I'd say I'm in a really good physical fitness. I'd say my mental state is the best it's ever been. I just can't describe you when you come out of this matrix, this societal prison that we create around ourselves, and then we step into who we really are. I mean, and you stop being fearful about anything. I mean, I've got everything to be fearful and stressed about, but I don't, because it's all going to work because I
Yeah.
trust. That's such a liberation. The work that I've done spiritually, energetically, is just, I feel so blessed that I'm in this place where I've got all this energetic support around me. I'm meeting people who I'm helping bring on that journey. I'm finding my tribe. And then the last piece now has been the work I've done on gut. Honestly, I honestly feel really powerful. I feel like I'm
Yeah.
a warrior. I feel like I could take on the world.
Yeah, I love it. And isn't it? It's almost I over the last couple of days I've been thinking about this and how you talk to women and they don't feel like this. I mean, I'm exactly the same as you. I feel absolutely effing fabulous
And
most
you
of the
look
time.
great, by the way. You look amazing.
Likewise, my God, we're just total fangirling. But yeah, but also that when you feel like that, you kind of forget that other people don't feel like that, don't you? And that actually, what I'm on a mission to give people is this opportunity to feel that, and it's so accessible. It it just is a few steps, it's a few tweaks, isn't it? And it's that. So a lot of yours sounds like it's come from the mental attitude around it. I mean, obviously there's stuff that's been happening, but that switch for you of, I'm now powerful in my mind and in my body, and that connection of the two is incredible. So
It is, and it leads to your confidence as well. Like I now realize if people are always projecting themselves onto you. So if there's, and I see things so differently. I'm like, this is me. This is
yeah,
me. This is who I am. It's my life. It's my purpose, my journey. And I don't now let other people energy affect me. I just go, well, that's you, that's what you're going through, and that I'm not even going to let that enter in now. Whereas before, I think people would have triggered me.
yeah,
But yes, I know, like my journey now, like you, is to help people step into their power. And
mm,
you're right, it is small tweaks, but actually it's a liberation, and it's retraining your mind, that it's finding who you are, listening to your intuition, stepping into a new energy. But it's like you said, it's all these tweaks that you can do. And it's I understand, like, our old world energy is dense. We've been given the wrong advice about diets,
yeah,
sugar and all this stuff that's been introduced. And actually going back to simple, like caveman eating, and spending our time outside
right,
and
yeah.
building up our physical strength, it's all going to release that power, isn't it?
Absolutely. It feels a little bit basic bitch, doesn't it, almost? It's a bit kind of like, oh, well, surely there must be a bigger thing. But it really is just going back to basics so many times. And actually, this is a really nice link, actually, because I do want to touch on your new bra fitting service and things. And actually talking about those small tweaks, because I have to say, I've had some of your active wear obviously for quite a long time, but I bought a bra recently, didn't I? Dear God alive, it's the most comfortable thing I've ever put on my skin. It's honestly, you don't even know you've got it on. It's incredible and it's beautiful. And so talk to me about, how because you have a mission right now, don't you, around this whole understanding that a very, very small tweak in terms of wearing the right bloody bra. I mean, you would think it was a kind of almost a fundamental thing, but so many people don't.
Yeah, and I what so I ran M&S underwear for a bit, and that's where I fell in love with underwear. But I didn't really. I I put ranges together. We delivered a profit margin, but I never really got into the psyche and the understanding of the power of that product until
Yeah.
I launched my own brand, Peachaus. And we launched it as a sustainable underwear and loungewear brand. And we've done so many in real life events over the last 4 years since we launched it. And we've done lots of bra fitting, particularly in the last kind of couple of years. We found that most of the women we were fitting are in the wrong bra size and they're actually living with discomfort. That kind of has become our norm, isn't it? We just accept bras are
Absolutely.
uncomfortable. And we maybe had a bra fit when we were young, but we've neglected it through our life. And there's too much friction in the way often to get your bra fitted. So you guess, you then self fit. So you don't actually have a baseline of even understanding in the first place what comfort is. Our boobs change all the way through our life, through hormonal differences, pregnancy, menopause, monthly.
Yeah.
And so they're just this, no, and there's an enigma really around them, and no one's really addressing this, and no one's advising and guiding women. So basically, we through these fits, we realised that there was some health issues. So we started to dig into this and we found reports around the fact that bras are causing musculoskeletal issues, which can range from mild to really serious. Clearly, that's going to impact a woman's confidence, her
Yeah.
productivity, how she feels going into the workplace. I meet loads of women. An example, recently we were at a bra fitting in Zero. This woman just said she has terrible pain from her bra, and she said, I just can't get away from it. So, we did a lot of work with her just to find a fit which was so perfect for her. We never dictate. A lot of brands will dictate about how it should fit and feel, but we found that soft, gentle place for her that really worked, and it was so lovely. And our bras are really light and they're really soft, like you said, and you don't feel like you're wearing one. So yeah, you're right, Sam. We decided we needed to fix this issue ourselves because no one else was doing it. So we pivoted the brand in the last few months, in the last year, to a bra fit service. And so we were addressing a women's health issue. So we're actually going into companies and we are now bra fitting in corporate businesses. So we charge for the
Fabulous.
service. We sell our products if they want to buy them. And yeah, and that's what we're doing.
Fabulous. So talk to me about then how do you feel that all of the changes you've put into place then make you turn up as a leader, as a business leader, as a leader of your family? What are the things that make you go, oh, okay, actually that's really great, I transfer that over into my leadership?
Yeah, right. I guess the first thing I'm going to say is that because I'm living my purpose and my mission, almost like it falls into my every part of my life is the business and is what I'm doing, because it's not separate. I don't have a business and I go to my business. My world is like Peachaus
Yeah.
transformation. So I would say that this power, this stepping into myself, goes into every part of my business. The fact that I now don't carry nerves, my nervous system is not on fire every day,
Yeah.
makes me a much more powerful and leader. It's my
Yeah.
leadership is, and I lead how I want to lead, not how I was taught to. A leader needs to be aggressive and assertive and demanding. I lead from the heart because I'm connected into my heart space, not my head. I see in every situation, I see the other person as they are and their perspective, and I'm able to very empathetically but drive forward and make and engage people and keep people with me. But also because I'm in my purpose, I see now the route, I see where I'm going. I didn't for a while because we hadn't worked out what our business was really about, but now I do. So I see that I'm commanding. My energy levels are incredible, and my team look at me and go, how can you do everything you do? Like you're just, but I it's I keep myself topped up so I can
Yeah.
do all of this stuff.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yes, coming back to the question, how does it lead into your business? In every way, because I have resilience, power, strength, I'm commanding, um I'm focused, and I can't believe when I look at myself and think that's you. And I think where I was 5 years ago, I thought
Yeah.
you could not have stepped into that.
And certainly when I mean, looking at you from the outside, I see a real sort of steadiness as well. And I think it's that sort of being able to lead with with this steady conviction, and that no matter what comes along, you're kind of, because you're rooted in yourself and your purpose. And as you say, there's almost like a North Star, isn't there? This kind of this guiding star that's taking you, that, you know, the ship is up and down, but it doesn't matter because you can ride the waves, because your nervous system is on a different level than it ever was. And that your body, and I talk about capacity quite a lot. So what you've essentially done is increased your capacity, the amount you can hold. So of course you can do more in your day-to-day life. Of course you can hold more stress. Of course you can take on these big leaps, because you have the capacity to hold that, and you're constantly emptying, checking, refilling your cup. So it's this beautiful kind of waterfall system, isn't it? So it's brilliant.
I
Really
love
great.
that. A waterfall system. It is, and it's recognizing that you are the most important project you'll ever work on. You are your this is a machine.
Yeah.
And I didn't ever see it like that before. So what I'm very conscious about what I put in. I'm
Yeah.
very conscious about how I look after it. I'm very conscious when I can feel it like needs tweaking, how I fix it. But now I realize the power of the alignment of all the different aspects of it in making you be your best version of yourself and actually be able to exist in a power I never knew I had. And you're right, it's immovable, it's unstoppable, it's grounded. You know, I've got some, you know, I would go into situations where I would have freaked before, and I'm like, yeah, just this, I don't
Fine.
even think about it now. I just own it because I actually like who I am, and I'm
Yeah.
confident in who I am. I didn't realize this version could ever exist.
Do you think there's an element, and I'm not big on the kind of like, oh, everything changes through the menopause, but do you think that, you know, going through the menopause and aging and walking into your sovereign era has had something to do with it as well? That you actually, I saw something the other day that was like, when you reach your, like, you know, you go through the sovereign era, it's like your 16-year-old self, but you actually like them. And it's actually that, you know, that feeling of like stepping into who you were always supposed to be.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there is something in that, but I would love to think that you could have that from an early age. So I think about my, like, I don't have daughters, I have sons, but you know, I'm just trying to, I want to let them be who they are and blossom and
Mm.
encourage them. Just say, you know, and we're having this chat with my eldest son about going to university, and you don't need to go to university. You know, what I'd love to think you do is learn about who you are outside of the school system and give
Mm.
yourself time, and you know what makes you really happy and joyful, and actually I feel like we are discovering, Sam, you know, we're discovering about what actually life really
Mm.
is, and
Yeah.
it's not what we were taught.
No.
It's we live in an energy system, and actually we need to teach that from a
Yeah.
very early age, but that's radical transformation.
Yeah.
But so I would love to think everyone could live an amazing life when they're mentally in the best place from for all their life,
Yeah.
not just when they
Absolutely.
hit middle age. And
Same. And
so,
I mean, I had a reflection the other day about, you know, I take for granted again, like I say, that my daughter goes into the gym and isn't phased at all about walking into the free weight section, because that's just her normal. You know, she's been sitting on a barbell for probably since she was about 6. So, you know, it's just part of her normal, and to grow up in that and to not have any fear around walking into the free weight section, or and for your guys to your kids to be able to go, oh, I don't have to follow this path, is really, and it's brave and strong. And when they have a, you know, when they have a leader in the family like you who can put that forwards and go, this is absolutely possible. It's, you know, so you've done the hard yards. That's the thing, that's the point, isn't it? You have done those hard yards. So fabulous. And and it's not been always the case for you. That's the point, isn't it? That you have had to do that journey.
and I think that's it. And I say to everyone, you know, it's worth doing the work, because when you get to the other side, it's so rewarding. Now, I don't know if I had extreme situations, but I know there are, in terms of my mental health and everything, everyone's got a version
Yeah.
of it. You've had a version of it, you know, you see it in your clients. And I I feel if I can talk about it and talk openly about my struggles and my pain, and how actually I never gave up hope, that actually I there was something better that I could lead a life where I didn't have this anxiety and this daily stuff to deal with. I believed it. And that's what gave me my glimmer of hope. And now, if I can share this so that someone else could think, I can
It's
have this,
possible.
she inspired me to make a change, and this is why you're doing what you're doing, then I'm feeling like I'm living my best life, really. It's the
Perfect.
most rewarding thing to fit someone in a bra and they literally go, you've transformed my life. We're all trying to do it in our own
Yeah,
ways, aren't we? For
absolutely.
me, it's
And
not
that,
selling a bra, it's
but
actually
it's
helping
not.
someone connect back to themselves in some
Yeah.
small way.
It's exactly the same. I mean, I'm not really, it's not about strength and nutrition, which is like, I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah, we'll do strength and nutrition. But also, you don't realize the impact that that's going to have on your life. It's just like, it's like night and day, isn't it? As you say, feeling good in your body in whatever way that looks like has an unreasonable effect on how you show up on a daily basis. So, yeah,
Well, actually, what you're describing is you're helping people live a great human life. And that's what it is. And actually, that's what we haven't been taught. It's not a language that we talk about, living a great human life. What is a great human life? What are we here to do? What is our experience here on this earth? We've been told it's commerce, it's money, it's, an ecosystem, which basically is all about making money. What we haven't been taught is actually it's about energy. It's about actually feeling great in yourself and having an amazing experience on this planet. And what can I
yeah.
do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And actually we think what we're looking for externally is we are maybe looking for better or more money, but actually what we're really searching for, because who wants millions of pounds in the bank? What you're actually looking for is freedom, right? So the freedom that comes from living a healthy life, living pain-free, living in your purpose, living, and it's freedom. It's utter freedom. And when you're in your power and in your purpose, I think that's the connection, isn't it?
It is. It absolutely is freedom, and liberation from
Yeah.
the strings that tie you. You're in control of yourself and your body and your existence. You're not controlled. That is it, 100%.
Fabulous.
I feel free. I feel liberated.
Yeah.
I feel inspired to help other people get to this place.
Fabulous. Well, my final question was how would you sum it up? And I think you've already done that. So thank you so much. I really hope that somebody takes something from this and a small action, get your bra fitted. It's a really small, kind of very, very tangible thing that you can do. So thank you so much for your time today. And I hope to see you soon. We'll have coffee soon.
I loved it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.